Hello, I'm Dr. Stan Headley, MD and board-certified naturopathic physician. I'm also the medical director for Gentech Pharmaceutical. We have a very special guest with us today, a colleague and friend, Mr. George Kohlberg, who is actually the executive chairman and co-founder of KALOS Therapeutics. Welcome, George.
Dr. Headley, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
I'm so excited to have George here with us today because we're going to be talking about a new cancer therapy that is different than standard conventional medical care. It's called ANP. And I guess, George, if you could tell us, what does that exactly mean?
ANP is atrial natriuretic peptide, Dr. Headley. It circulates in our body all the time. It's an endogenous peptide. It's made in the heart, your kidneys, and even in your shins. And its sole purpose, by nature, how it was created, is to control cell proliferation and hemodynamics. Those areas of hypercell proliferation and fluid retention are related to cancer. So we used nature to give us the indication of where we would find the best therapeutic. Many of our therapeutics are found in nature and perfected in science.
That's outstanding because we're always looking for therapies that will be less invasive and less toxic to the body. It sounds like ANP certainly falls into that family. Can you tell us in terms of the safety profile of ANP, its effectiveness, what you've seen so far in your early trials?
Absolutely. Let's start with what happens in drug development and clinical trials. You'll see most drugs fail very early on for toxicity, lack of safety, as well as lack of efficacy. They just don't work. Because these peptides circulate in our body all the time, and their natural job is to control fluids and cell proliferation, we know they're safe. We've tested them. This particular family of peptides has been in a therapeutic in humans in what's called Investigator New Drug Development Study right here in Tampa, Florida, in the James A. Haley VA Hospital.
That's super exciting. I can't tell you how touched I am because I did lose my wife 3 years to ovarian cancer, stage 3. Obviously, we searched out some of the best physicians, some of the best treatments that we could possibly find. But as you know, ovarian cancer and pancreatic cancer are very, very difficult to treat and make a difference. We did something called insulin potentiation therapy. And I guess I was wondering, does ANP work synergistically with the insulin potentiation therapy, or would that be something that could work in combination, I guess, more effectively?
The idea of combination is very important. That particular therapy shines a light on what we need most for these diseases, an early diagnosis. That particular therapy is related to the amount of glucose in your body. Early indicators on these cancers are sudden onset of adult diabetes.
Right.
So if we can explore that sudden onset of adult diabetes, we may find an earlier marker because ovarian cancer and pancreatic cancer are not diagnosed early. They exist because there's a very low threshold of pain. The abdomen doesn't reflect and sense pain like other areas of the body. So that would be a great key, like shining a light on an opportunity for a new diagnostic for us.
Absolutely. What about, I'm familiar with medications like Gemzar that can be used for ovarian cancer, for example. How does ANP work with Gemzar? Again, is there any drug interaction or is there any problems in that regard?
You know, it's amazing. Gemzar was a drug developed by Lilly and extremely effective in these virulent cancers. It's coming off patent, and they're looking at new ways to use their drugs, combining them with other chemotherapies, other monoclonal antibody therapies, targeted therapies. What we did was a clinical study in animals to look at how KT220, our scientific proof of concept therapy, would work with Gemzar. We found that KT220 treats cancers, shrinks tumors, as well as existing therapies with none of the side effects. And when combined with a drug like Gemzar that's effective, we saw the best results The rodents lost the least amount of weight. They had the best tumor shrinkage. So what we found was we could improve the quality of life as well as extend progression-free survival in the animals, and that will translate to humans as well.
Well, this is amazing, and again, I get very emotional and very excited about this because of my personal experience. But it sounds like from what you're saying that the product is very, very safe, it's very effective, it's cytostatic and non-toxic, and it can be used in combination with other therapies. So if this product is so good, why don't we have it on the market today? How long is it going to take before we can see your A&P product?
That's actually very important. Drug development in the United States is closely regulated by the FDA for a good reason. They're looking out for the safety of all of us. Drugs take 10 to 12 years to be developed. Young and Partners have indicated it takes $800 million to $1 billion to develop a drug because so many fail, which is why drugs are so expensive. We have an opportunity because of the unmet medical need to seek rapid review and early approval. We can shorten the process in the United States to 4 years. That means less money, more focus on developing the drugs, and we can get them to patients sooner. We could be in patients as early as a year from today with our financing. So it's tough to get there. The FDA does its job, it keeps us safe, but we have an opportunity because this is an endogenous peptide that circulates in our body all the time to cite existing safety data. The drug's been used in other types of diseases in other countries so that we can seek that rapid review, early approval, and help people sooner and for less money.
Well, I think this ties in very nicely to the fact that we need earlier detection, and obviously with products like A&P, there is an opportunity for us in the medical community to make a difference for these very difficult to treat cancers such as pancreatic and ovarian, which A&P has shown great promise for. What about other conditions? I think I had seen or read something where we're talking about AMD, age-related macular degeneration. It is the leading cause of blindness in anyone over 65 years of age. That's a real problem. And I heard that A&P can actually be very helpful in that regard. Can you expound upon that?
Absolutely. We've gotten a lot of press in the past year with a breakthrough where we found that the atrial natriuretic peptide family, in particular the combination of peptides that we're developing, will block VEGF signaling, vascular endothelial growth factor, which creates those leaky vesicles or capillaries that cause wet AMD. Wet AMD is dangerous. You can go blind in as quick as 2 weeks.
Yes.
Current therapeutics started as cancer therapeutics, much like our drug started, in cancer first. We've explored the blocking of the VEGF signal. We found that we can actually reverse blindness in animals. So we're very excited about that. Our focus is cancer first. We've got to treat those patients that have no other alternatives and then develop the AMD product as well because it's something we're all going to face. We're aging and living longer means we have a much stronger likelihood to face AMD. I'd like to move that product to prophylactic care, treat people earlier instead of after they've already gotten the disease.
Absolutely, absolutely. Are there any other conditions where we've seen A&P, the atrial natriuretic peptide, be effective for?
You know, the NCI, the National Cancer Institute, says that you don't have a drug if it only works in one cancer. We've tested our drug against 9 different cancer lines in labs around the world and have found we're efficacious in breast cancer, ovarian cancer, prostate cancer, brain cancer. It is amazing, but it requires a focus and a commitment and a large amount of money to develop those various cancers and their therapies properly. In the FDA will require different size studies for all of those different cancers. In working in collaboration with big pharma and big biopharma, we can help develop and bring new products to the market in those other areas, and then eventually treat other hyperproliferative diseases, cells that grow too fast in your body, with our peptide and its various formulations.
This is really interesting, and at the same time very, very exciting to me. When we look at breast cancer now in the United States, 1 out of 8 women is diagnosed at some point in their life with breast cancer.
Correct.
Typical standard care, of course, the anthracyclines are commonly used. And again, now we're seeing a more natural product, the ANP, that appears to be very, very effective for this problem.
It's a very special problem. Just in September, there was a retrospective study that was done looking at patients that were treated with anthracyclines and other monoclonal therapies or in combination. And they found that subpopulations, patients that are triple negative, topo 2s, don't respond at all to the anthracyclines, and in fact face cardiotoxicity and insult or damage to their heart because they took the cancer drug even though it didn't treat their tumor. Since our drugs naturally exist and are made in the heart, all we're doing is raising them to therapeutic levels after we've synthesized them. I believe strongly that since the peptides are made in the heart, we're probably not going to damage the heart when we treat those patients. They need that specialized care.
This is so impressive, because now we're talking about something that can actually really make a difference. It's going to give patients who are diagnosed with cancer, regardless of what that cancer type may be, a much higher quality of life. And certainly anytime we can do that, this is very, very exciting. So we're happy to share this information. I really appreciate you telling us more about the atrial natriuretic peptide and what it can actually do and what it means to patients, their families, because let's face it, just about everyone is touched by cancer.
That's one of the reasons I went into this field, Dr. Headley. I've lost most of my family to cancer or cardiovascular disease, and looking at the current therapies, I knew there had to be a better way. After the research and working with doctors around the world, we found some new therapies and have been encouraged by both the FDA and the European Medicine Association to develop these as quickly as possible because they're cost-effective, efficacious, and do provide that better quality of life.
Well, this is what it's all about, is quality of life and extending the lifespan, because everyone is interested in healthy living and longevity. So I think your product sounds absolutely amazing, and I'm excited for it to be on the fast track, and let's get to helping these people right away. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Headley. It was a pleasure being here today, and thank you all.
Again, I'm Dr. Stan Headley, and thank you for joining us today.